So let's go back. The next 5 buildings on the right, the next 5 on the right, they were all built in chronological order. So they really demonstrate the evolution of architecture here in Chicago. So first up on our right, this is 2 Riverside Plaza. 2 Riverside here is more Art Deco. So again, same features, dark, deep windows, the racing stripes, machine-like vertical lines, Indiana limestone tan color. There are carvings on the bottom. All the carvings are from important events from the history of journalism, like the first printing press right there. This was the Chicago Daily News building when it was built. So again, think roaring 20s. But what happened in 1929? The stock market, boom, it crashed, and we entered the Great Depression. And there is a freeze on the building of office buildings from 1930 to 1957. So over 25 years of no building office towers in Chicago. But when we restart architecture in the late 50s, we jump into black box modernism, which you can see over here on the right in Gateway Centers 1 and 2. Modernism, black boxes. Now the father of this boring, minimalist style of architecture was a man named Mies van der Rohe, Ludwig Mies van der Rohe, very famous architect from Germany. He comes over here to Chicago around World War II, and he said that less is more. That's sort of a catchphrase, less is more. So I think there's sort of an elegant simplicity to these black boxes. They are dark, stark, they're cheaper, they're easier to make. These buildings, I would say, are more functionally beautiful instead of them being as eye-catching, aesthetically beautiful, right? All right, but why? Built like that, right? How do we go from that fancy and expensive Art Deco style to simple boxes? Well, again, this is the post-Great Depression generation, post-World War II generation, people who are pretty thrifty, who are concerned, hey, they're getting another financial crash someday, maybe let's not spend all our money on gold and carvings and statues. So they said it's a machine for work. That's what an office building is. Keep it simple, low cost, and that's how they built over 60 of these black boxes in just Chicago alone in a period of only about 15 years. But now, let us just go on to the groovy 1970s with the international style of Gateway Center 3, this white building on the right. So in the 70s, architects are feeling tied down. They want... Sorry. Let's play the echo chamber over here. So architects are feeling tied down. They're feeling totally boxed in by the modernism, austerity of it, the minimalism of it. They want to do something very different. So they go from black boxes to white boxes. So okay, it's not that different, but okay, it has a little more style, precast concrete, stone cladding, and we call white boxes the international style because you can see a building like that being built anywhere in the world in the 1970s. But now, let us move on to one of my favorite decades for architecture, the 1980s, the Gateway Center 4, this curvy glass building on the right. So I love the 80s. Things went in a whole new direction. Architects were tired of boxes. They thought modernism kind of boring. They want something with personality again. Thus, the contextualist style begins to emerge. The curve in the building mimics again the upcoming curve in the river. Darker green glass matches the color, the convex bubbled windows. They reflect not just the buildings around it, but the ripple effect of water in the river. So again, contextualism is all about building a building that fits best right here. But back to black boxes. On our left. So this is a simple black box building that we really did not used to talk about on tours, and I think that made the owners a little sad. So they spent over $800,000 to put themselves on the map. This to your left is a giant "You Are Here" map of the Chicago River. So that little red block up there, that represents this building here on the river. You see we went west down the main branch, turned north into the north branch, did the U-turn, came down here, we have reached this building. So, hey, next time anyone's lost in downtown Chicago and your phone tragically fallen in the river, just look at that building. You'll know exactly where to go. There's a single street name on it. It's very helpful. Well, on our right is another super big Art Deco building. Now you may recognize it if you're a big Batman fan, because this is where Heath Ledger's Joker robbed a Gotham City bank in the 2008 film The Dark Knight. Anyone remembers the movie, the Joker? He drives this big school bus from stolen money straight out of that building in the opening scene. Spoiler alert, sorry. But before that, this was the old post office. Yeah, so when this building was built, almost 100 years ago, the largest post office in the world. And if you're wondering why Chicago needed such a large post office, well, before Amazon, before the amazing invention that we call today online shopping, Chicago was the mail order and catalog capital of the world. We have the likes of Sears department store here, among other huge retailers, and we needed such a huge post office to handle an incredibly high volume of mail. But, we don't really order the magazines as much anymore, and that is no longer a post office. It's now a huge office building for big companies. Uber, Walgreens, PepsiCo, just to name a few. A building so large that they left room for this highway to eventually go directly through the center of the building. If we followed the South Branch in this direction, we would eventually reach, again, from this exact spot, we would eventually reach the Mississippi River. And then you can take the Mississippi all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. We will not be doing that today, but hey, it's very possible. It would only take about 3 weeks. But we have now reached the storytelling portion of this tour. So remember I told you at the beginning, Chicago's story, one of resiliency, strength in the face of problems or challenges. Just keep that in the back of your minds as you listen to these stories. Here is the first one, the Great Chicago Fire of 1871. Now we're talking about the Great Fire of 1871. There is a lot of myth surrounding our fire, so we need to first separate the facts from the fiction. Now I'd like to start with the fiction. Okay, the following is the not true story. Alright, just so we're clear, this is the untrue story. This is the myth of the fire, the legend of the fire. It goes like this. In 1871, they say that a cow in Mrs. O'Leary's barn, so the legend goes, that Mrs. O'Leary was milking her cow, as she often did. But in this particular evening, the cow got very upset. And hey, wouldn't you? Because the cow just sort of kicked over a kerosene lantern she was holding. Big lantern that starts the whole barn on fire. And then soon they say, in a matter of hours, that the whole city of Chicago was ablaze. All from the kick of a single cow. Now, okay, maybe the story is familiar to some people here. Ringing a bell, yeah, right, a cow, fire, Chicago. Now, the story of our cow, it's really gotten around with the years, I would say, because they did used to teach it in schools, but it is untrue. Now, there's some truth to the story, so it can get confusing. So to break it down, number one, Mrs. O'Leary, she was a real person. Yes, her name was Catherine O'Leary. She was an Irish immigrant, and she had a barn here in Chicago. Number two, we do believe Mrs. O'Leary owned a cow. And number three, we actually believe that the fire did start in her barn. Okay, but listen, there is no proof. Importantly, there is no evidence whatsoever to blame it on the cow or blame it on poor Mrs. O'Leary or anyone else for that matter. We do not know how the fire actually truly began, and we never will. But the city of Chicago, they officially exonerated Mrs. O'Leary